All right, what's good, all day fam? Live right after the games. Two really, I mean, yeah, both games was pretty good. I thought they was probably pretty competitive. 49, and we had the Panthers and the Buccaneers and the Seahawks and the 49ers. And I can't remember what I predicted, but I do know. Oh so I said that the Panthers was gonna beat the Bucks 30-28. I was completely wrong on that. And so we got the Panthers losing to the Bucks. It's I am I have to say, I am very, very disappointed in the Panthers' performance. So I don't really know what to say about Panthers. Because here's man, the Panthers are a team. They're like the Falcons. They're a team that got so much potential, and they just cannot seem to get games. They just cannot. They can't get it done. They can't close games. And Bryce Young is so inconsistent. And then you got Panthers. The entire team is so inconsistent. I they are a team that has so much talent and so much potential, and they just lose games that I feel like they shouldn't be losing. And it's not like the Buccaneers played well today. I mean, they played all right. I mean, Baker Mayfield he wasn't all that. The game was pretty much sloppy. It was heavy rain. I mean, it was raining bullets out there, and the fumbles, Baker Mayfield making mistakes, threw it a pick and stuff. The Panthers had so many opportunities and they just could not get it done. They just couldn't close the window. And the fact of the matter is, the crazy thing is that the Panthers, they still have a chance to go to the playoffs. I think they need the Saints. Though, yeah, the Panthers needs the Falcons to win. The Saints needs the Panthers needs the Falcons to win, and they can get in. And so, I mean, the thing about the Panthers is they had so many opportunities to really seal this opportunity to win the to win the NFC South and to get into the playoffs, and they keep losing games, and they're not now. I'm feeling like they're not going to win it. Even if they do get into the playoffs, they're not going to win a game. I don't see that happening. I just think that they they're just too inconsistent to say. I mean, I don't know what else to say about the Panthers. I'm really disappointed in them, but hey, who knows? They're a very, very young team. I think they're one of the youngest teams in NFL. I think they are, or it's the Saints, but they're a young team. Bryce Young still has a lot to learn. He has a lot of growth, but yeah, I mean, so let's see here. Tampa Bay defense makes some amends. It's been a difficult season for the Buccaneers defense, which entered Week 18 ranked 23rd in the points allowed, but with their backs against the wall, the Bucs showed up. The interior held strong against Carolina's running game to hold the Panthers to only 19 rushing yards. Easily Tampa Bay's fewest allowed all season by shutting down the running lanes. So the Bucs forced Bryce Young to take the air in abysmal rainy conditions, though he found some success, especially to make callers tight. Tampa Bay was able to bend rather than break against the pass throughout most of the contest. And when Carolina had perhaps its most momentum toward the end of the first half, coming off a touchdown with the ball again at midfield, rookie Jacob Parrish delivered an interception. Tampa Bay turned the turnover to 3 points before half, which proved the difference in the final score. The Bucs offense arguably played too conservatively as the game went on after coming out hot. It ran the ball 38 times before once Tabo's defense allowed such an approach to result in a win. The 14 points given up to Carolina marked Tampa Bay's second best outing on the season. So there's the thing. Bryce Young, Baker Mayfield. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with Baker Mayfield. I mean, he came out this year. He was so hot. He was going off, and he even earned my respect. I've always been the person to always criticize Baker Mayfield. I've never been a huge fan of Baker Mayfield. But the thing about it is, as soon as I started giving Baker Mayfield his credit, as soon as I started giving him his props, he starts falling apart. He starts not playing well. I mean, and the thing about it is, and you can't say it was because of his lack of weapons. All of his weapons are there. Now, I do think that Emeka, there is still something going on with Emeka Buka. I still think he still have a little injury lingering around, but you still got Mike Evans, you got Chris Godwin, you got Emeka Buka, you got your run, you got everything there. Like, I don't know what's going on. And as soon as I give Baker Mayfield his flowers, as soon as I start getting some like having some type of respect for Baker Mayfield. He just starts like not showing up. This dude was in the MVP conversation, and he has been playing pretty bad, if not bad, very average for the past month or two. And that to me is very disturbing if I'm a Buccaneer. I mean, I am not. I mean, if the Panthers gets into the playoffs, the Buccaneers gets into the playoffs, they're one and done. They're done. I mean, it's not going to be exciting if either one of those teams goes to the playoffs because both of those teams are playing trash and both of those teams are getting terribly or inconsistent, very inconsistent quarterback play from both of their quarterbacks. And I'm a Bryce Young guy. I like Bryce Young, but there's only so many passes I'm going to give Bryce Young. Like I'll give Bryce Young 3 more years, and if he doesn't show up, I have to just be like, he's just not it. He's not. He doesn't deserve to be a franchise quarterback. And to be honest with you, I'm going to give Bryce Young 3 years. The NFL is not going to give him 3 years. Reality, they're going to probably give him like another year or two, and that's it. Two max. I don't think they're going to give him 3 years of this type of quarterback play. The fans, the media, the NFL, coaches, owners, GMs, they're not forgiving. They're not as forgiving as I am. So Bryce Young is going to have to get it together. So in this game, Panthers didn't look ready for the moment. This was Carolina's chance to clinch its first winning season since 2017 and first NFC South title since the 2015 Super Bowl run with Cam Newton. The division crown might still come should the Falcons win on Sunday to give it to them, but the Panthers no longer have agency when it comes to wrong fate. See, this is the thing. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the Panthers, all they needed was a win, and they couldn't even get that. They couldn't even get a win. They needed to just beat the Saints, and they couldn't even beat the Saints. They needed to just beat the freaking Buccaneers today, and they couldn't do that. And the Buccaneers gave them so many opportunities. Fans will be quick to point out that a collection of calls went out against them in the third quarter. There was an early blown whistle on a backward pass that eventually made an errant field goal. Tougher officials missed a Bucs defender rip off tight end Tommy Treble's helmet. I saw that, and I heard about that. The commentators talking about that. T-Mac saw a 33-yard first down pickup wiped away by offensive pass interference, and on the next possession, a defensive pass interference benefited the Bucs. And after Carolina safety Nick Scott and Tampa tight end Cade Auden appeared to get their feet tangled. It had to be frustrating. But so was Carolina's performance. Neither Rico Dotto nor Chuba Hubbard averaged over 2 yards per carry, and that's sad because Nico Dotto was going off earlier this year, and he got slowed down. So that's what I'll say. I don't know what's going. Like the inconsistency of the Carolina Panthers has been extremely frustrating. I can only imagine being a Carolina fan. I can only imagine it because the talent is there. I guess you could say the coaching is there, and they just cannot pull it through. There was also some head-scratching play calling, the most obvious example being a flea flicker in rainy conditions with Carolina already set up on Tampa's 24-yard line. Dotto slipped, still tried the toss, and the Bucs recovered the fumble to preserve a 16-7 lead. Bryce Young played well outside a momentum-crushing interception before halftime. He made it interesting late with a 40-yarder to McMillan on 4th and 8, which set up an 8-yard touchdown dive to Jalen Cooker, I think his name is. I don't know if it's Cooker or Cocker, 2 plays later. However, he ultimately couldn't overcome failures elsewhere. The Panthers are ahead of schedule, but they weren't quite there on Saturday. The NFC South will have this was a crucial battle featuring the only two. Yeah, the NFC South will have a 500 champion. That's bad. This was a crucial battle featuring the only two teams that can win the division. But Tampa Bay's victory didn't seal the NFC South. The Buccaneers still need the Saints to defeat or tie the Falcons on Sunday. Otherwise, the Panthers will be able to back into the playoffs with an Atlanta win. Both clubs will rue that that has come down to this. The Buccaneers seem like the runaway favorite in the division after starting the year 6-2. Yes, they did. I still thought it was going to be the Panthers, but everybody thought the Buccaneers was going to run away with this because, like I said, Baker Mayfield was hot. Buccaneers was looking great, and they just plateaued. Only to lose 7 of their last 9. And really, there's no reason why they should have lost that many games. I honestly don't know. I mean, the Falcons was looking good, and look what happened to them. So the NFC South is just it's a bunch of teams that are just has-beens. I guess you're not even has-beens. They haven't lived up to their potential, and will they ever? The Panthers, who had alternated wins and losses since week 7, finally dropped 2 in a row to conclude the regular season when That just tells you right there. The Panthers is the epitome of inconsistency. Bryce Young is the epitome of inconsistency. So they finally dropped 2 in a row to conclude the regular season when a victory in either game would have punched their playoff ticket. That tells me right there that they're going to, even if they do make it to the playoffs, they're going to get booted out in the first round because like I said, all I needed was a win, and they couldn't even get that. It's somewhat of an embarrassing proposition for the division that the Falcons, a team that has been eliminated since week 14, could potentially finish in a three-way tie for the first place to send the Panthers through. Regardless, all that matters is getting into the dance. Both the Panthers and the Buccaneers have shown themselves to be a dangerous, albeit inconsistent this season. One of them will look to put it together when hosting a wild card game next week. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, yeah, the Panthers, they got me thinking. I'm trying to put together like what kind of team are they? And I don't really know. I mean, like I said, there's nothing else that's really described them as but inconsistency. So let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is nothing. This is nothing. But yeah. So we can so I said that they was gonna win 30 to what was the score? I said it was going 30 to 28. They lost 16 to 13. So that's that. But yeah, there's nothing really much more else to say about that game. But hey, who knows? I mean, it could be like the Giants when they went, and I think the Giants went one year. It was like 9-7. They won the Super Bowl. Giants had a terrible regular season, and they went. Eli Manning, like Bryce Young, inconsistent, and he went on and won. So who knows? It could happen, So we'll see. It'll be very interesting playoffs. I know that this playoffs is going to be very interesting because this playoffs has a lot of inexperienced teams and inexperienced quarterbacks playing, and it has a lot of game manager quarterbacks playing. We talk about Bryce Young, Jalen Hurts, Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield. Those type of quarterbacks, all of them are inconsistent. I'm even talking about my boy Sam Darnold. I love Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is a good quarterback, but he hasn't been playing all that well lately. And it's very funny because a lot of these quarterbacks have been playing hot and very well earlier this year. Daniel Jones, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold. And I mean, like consistently, I can't say Bryce Young because Bryce Young is like, he literally will play good one game and then terrible next, great one game, like literally. But it leaves you thinking that any of these quarterbacks, even the Seahawks, they're going to be one and done because of their quarterback play. Now, with that being said, like I even think the Eagles will be one and done. But with that being said, I can't say all these teams are going to be one and done. Somebody is going to have to keep going. But with that being said, could the Seahawks are in a better position than most of these teams are. I think the only NFC team that's in a better position than the Seahawks is the Bears, maybe the Eagles. But could the Seahawks go all the way without any kind of great quarterback play from Sam Darnold? I honestly think the Seahawks can. So I'm kind of contradicting myself by saying the Seahawks are a one and done team because the Seahawks are really, really good. I mean, really, really good. And they showed that to you tonight when they played against the 49ers. Now, with that being said, the 49ers without Trent Williams, they're without Ricky Pearsall, but they did have CMC and they did have CMC and they did have George Kittle. But Brock Purdy, he was nowhere to be found today. He made some good throws, but for the most part, he didn't do anything. And before I get into Brock Purdy, I want to stay focused on Seahawks, talking about can they really go without great quarterback play for Sam Darnold? I think they can because, like I said, they have a really, really great team. Their defense is lights out. Their defense is dangerous. And They don't need much from Sam Darnold. Now, Sam Darnold has been getting a lot of criticism because he hasn't been playing very well lately. I think for the past 2 months, he hasn't really been playing all that well. It's been bad. Earlier this year, he was great. He was even looking like he could be in MVP conversations. That's what frustrates me so much about Sam Darnold. And he has JSN, and he's still not playing well. I don't know what's going on. He needs to get that together. But they don't need much from Sam Darnold for them to win. Like their running backs they have really good running backs, and they have a really good running game. They have a great defense. They have a really good coach. I like Mike McDonald. I liked him last year. All they need from Sam Darnold is for him not to turn the ball over. It's for him to not to be the reason why they will lose. And I think Sam Darnold is more than capable and willing to do that. And I also think Sam Darnold is capable of winning a game for them as well. But he is so inconsistent, and sometimes you just don't know what you're going to get out of him, that you can't really fully depend on Sam Darnold to do that. So that's the disturbing thing when it comes to a quarterback like Sam Darnold. You just can't trust him because you don't know. It's not like that you don't want to trust him. You honestly, literally don't know. And I mean, last year I defended Sam Darnold. I defended Sam Darnold a lot of this year as well. I've always defended Sam Darnold, but now lately I'm looking at his play, and I'm like, okay, bro, I can't blame that on anybody else but you. And yeah, you really are a very average quarterback, but you have so much potential. You are so talented. Your ceiling is so incredibly high. You've been in the league for quite a while now, and you're doing things that you just shouldn't be doing. Sam Darnold, I'm talking about here. Now, granted, Sam Darnold is still very young. He's only 28. That's the crazy thing about it. So he can still blossom, get better, grow, be better for him to stay in the league. So that's the plus sign about Sam Darnold. Same thing with somebody like Lamar Jackson. Like Lamar Jackson is still very young. I think Lamar Jackson is only 28. He's been in the league for a while, but he's still young. And that's the beauty about guys like Sam Darnold and Lamar Jackson. Now, I'm not saying Sam Darnold was in the league of Lamar Jackson, nowhere near. He hasn't done the same things Lamar Jackson has done. He's not nearly as talented as Lamar Jackson. But I mean, Sam Darnold's pretty talented. Don't get me wrong. I watched him at USC. He's a very, very talented quarterback. But I it's going to be very interesting. Yes, speaking of Lamar Jackson, it's going to be interesting to see where he's going to go next year. But who knows, man? Sam Darnold can go into the playoffs and he can snap off. And that's what I want to see. I want to see that happen. But if not, I will like to see Sam Darnold win some playoff games and go to probably an NFC Championship. Maybe he can meet the Bears in the NFC Championship. That'd be dope. Him and Caleb Williams facing off each other, two USC quarterbacks facing off against one another in the playoffs. So that will be, and it'll be regardless, a USC quarterback will be in the Super Bowl. I would like to see that. That'd be kind of cool. But the Seahawks are a scary team. I think the Seahawks can get at least a playoff win. If the Seahawks doesn't get at least a playoff win, it will be kind of depressing. I think it'll be a terrible season for the Seahawks, because the Seahawks has definitely been one of the best teams in the NFL. They literally have. I honestly, outside of the Patriots, I honestly don't know what team is better than the Seahawks. So, in the last game of the in the last game that the Patriots played, they weren't looking all that promising. They weren't looking all that great. Seahawks, they looked dominant every single game, even though the score was very, very close. They won 13-3. If you watch the game, which I watched most of it, you will see that the score should have been a lot bigger than what it was. The Seahawks left a lot of points on the board, and they like going for it on fourth down when they're in the goal line position because their defense is so great. They back the opposite offense up in their own goal line, so in their own red zone territory. So it makes sense. The Seahawks has a strategy of how they play in the game, and it's really a chess match. That's why I think they can at least. That's why I think they can really make a run to the NFC because they dominate every single game that they play. They really do, even though the score doesn't show it. When you watch it, they really go out there and they dominate, and their defense fly high, and their defense is very physical and very dominant. So I really like what the Seahawks does. I really do. So let's see. So the Seahawks on the 49ers, Seahawks 49ers on Saturday of week 13, we learned from. Let's see. So I predicted the Seahawks to beat the 49ers 24-23, and that score was not close at all. They beat them 13-3. So the Seahawks were on the NFC's number one seed. No credit is owed to Sam Darnold for getting a win in the same spot he fell short with the Vikings last year. For the second straight season, he needed a Week 18 victory to clinch the NFC's number one seed. Unlike when Minnesota, Darnold didn't turn into a primetime pumpkin. He had a few skittish. He had a few terrible moments, almost fumbling a handoff after failing and nearly throwing an interception late while trying to run out the clock. But he did what he was called on to do to finish a respectable 20 of 26 of 498 yards. Hopefully, that will fill him with the confidence moving into the postseason. The running game was the real hero, though. Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet combined for 171 yards and a score of on 33 carries, and each had multiple massive runs for the Seahawks. So Charbonnet's biggest was a 27-yard first quarter touchdown run on which he burst into the outside and eventually shook off defensive back Malik Mustafa. I think it's Mustafa, or I said the same thing, to get into the end zone. For Walker, it was a miraculous tackle dodging 3rd and 17 pickup from his own 25-yard line, an absolute crusher in a one-score game late in the third quarter. So the Seahawks ran it down the 49ers' throat essentially from start to finish to control the game, having defeated the 49ers in Santa Clara, California to earn a first-round bye and rode back to Santa Clara. So, yeah, there's that Santa Clara obviously is going to be this. It's going to that's where the Super Bowl is going to be. So the Niners, they fought short on both sides. It was a tight, low-scoring game, but the Seahawks seemed to dominate everywhere but the scoreboard. Offensively, the Niners were totally unmatched. Brock Purdy finished with just 127 passing yards and a pick. Juwan Jennings was his leading receiver with 35 yards, while Christian McCaffrey led the team on the ground with the 23 rushing yards on a 2.9 yards per carry, with nothing doing on offense. San Francisco's defensive flaws were painfully terrible. The 49ers couldn't stop the run early, getting gained on a few big carries, and after. So let's see here. Okay, about any of that stuff. So Niners must pick up the pieces and head on the road for the wild card round. The good news is that there aren't many playoff teams that can frustrate Kyle Shanahan's offense to the degree Seattle did on Saturday nights. A great number more can certainly exploit San Francisco's defense. Seattle's defense was relentless in quieting Purdy. San Francisco came into the battle of the NFC's number one seed, having averaged a ridiculous 42.3 points over his past 3 games. Brock Purdy, easily the league's hottest quarterback, had combined for 10 touchdowns in the team's past 2 contests. The Seahawks ensured very little of that success carried over into their matchup. They very quickly. Let's see. No. All season, Christian McCaffrey was effectively shut down no matter how the Niners got him the ball. Even a double reverse that wasn't then flipped back to Purdy to throw to CMC only netted a few yards. Whether or not Purdy could only make things happen through circus act escapes and desperate throws. Even when the 49ers did find some momentum and finally piecing together their lone drive over 30 yards in the fourth quarter, McCaffrey was unable to collect a catch that instead landed in Drake Thomas's hands for a red zone pick. For the first time in a long time, nothing came easy for the Niners, who finished with 173 total yards, a far cry. 45.40. Since the week 14. One of the most important games of the season, Seattle's D again proved why it can help deliver a Lombardi trophy. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I really like their defense, and they have a really great running game. They have Sam Darnold, who has shown that he can really spin it and win the game. You know, and the guy Jackson Smith and Jigba, they need to get him back going. They're going to need him in the playoffs to make some plays. They don't need to fully depend on him to go out there and win it like with Sam Darnold, because go deep in the playoffs, when it's Lombardi, you need to be more reliable on your running game. But I believe there's going to be some times that they're going to need Sam Darnold to go out there and make a play, and they cannot afford for Sam Darnold to go out there and to make mistakes. So, yeah. So, Zach Charbonnet forced a career high of 10 missed tackles. He is really great in open space. He was really good in open space at UCLA. That's what he did. That's what he does. Kenneth Walker forced 7 missed tackles. The two Seahawks running backs combined to gain 74 yards due to missed tackles. Overall, the 49ers defense missed 21 tackles, the second most by a defense in a game this season. I would like to see how many tackles does Charbonnet make people miss in general throughout the entire season, because he's really great in open space. He's very hard to tackle in open space. Very, very hard to tackle in open space. So Sam Darnold, 14-3 with Minnesota last season, joined Tom Brady 2003 and 2004 as the only quarterbacks in NFL history to win at least 14 games in consecutive season. That's a great company to be a part of. Now, I know people are knocking Brock Purdy. I know people are knocking Sam Darnold because they're like, he's definitely not the reason why. He's definitely not the reason why the Seahawks are winning right now. Maybe he was earlier this year, but definitely it's obviously who's the reason why they're winning. But the thing about it is the Seahawks are playing winning football. That's the reason why most teams will win, no matter who the quarterback is. Especially when you get late into the season. You want to be winning games with your running game and your defense. That's going to carry you. Not by your quarterback going out there going for 200, 300 yards a game. Just not going to happen. So, the Seahawks, the Bears, I think that's going to be the NFC Championship right there. I really do. I don't see any other NFC team really making that much noise. Not even the Eagles. But, okay, we'll see. Now, with Brock Purdy, I think, Brock Purdy, see, when I'm talking about Baker Mayfield, I gave Baker Mayfield his flowers, and look at Baker Mayfield. Now he's like, he's not all that good, and he's not playing all that well. And that's always been my case about Baker Mayfield since he's been in the league. Really, I've never been a fan of Baker Mayfield, and I'm like, as soon as I give him his flowers, he plays terrible. Same for Brock Purdy. I mean, Brock Purdy started to grow on me a little bit, and now it's like they've had so many 3-and-outs throughout this entire game. Now you got to give credit to the Seattle Seahawks defense. I mean, that's really one main reason why there was so many 3-and-outs by the 49ers. But still, there's no excuse. Brock Purdy, you have all those 3-and-outs, and you have nothing to show for it. You only give up 3 points. You got George Kittle. You got CMC. I don't care you don't have Trent Williams. I don't care you don't have Ricky Pearsall. They're not most, well, Trent Williams is, but still, you got to go out there and you got to make a difference. And Brock Purdy has shown that he can take the team all the way to the Super Bowl. He's already done that. Are they going to do that this year? I highly doubt it. I don't see that happening at all. It will be a miracle if they get through the NFC, because it's obvious the best teams in the NFL right now are in the NFC. Outside of the Patriots, the AFC, all the other great teams are NFC teams. And so that's going to be a major concern if the 49ers ends up in the playoffs. I think they will be one and done team as well. So we'll see, though. We'll see. Anything can happen. Some of these teams are much more experienced than other teams in the playoffs. So teams like the 49ers, they've been there, done that. They're one of the most experienced teams in the NFC outside of the Rams. So they can just go out there and just make a run for it. It can happen. Teams seem to play really different when playoff time comes. So don't be surprised if a team that you didn't expect go out there and just go crazy in the playoffs. Don't be surprised if it's a team that you did expect to go out there and play really great and they play terrible. They get knocked off in the first round. It happens. I've been watching football since I've been 14 years old. I'm 35 now. I'll be 36 in May. It happens a lot. I got a lot of football in me. I played football. I tried walking on at the University of Alabama. I played at a arena league in Atlanta. I coached football. I refereed football. Now I have a football YouTube channel, and I send out weekly newsletters here and there. So I know a lot about the game, a lot, and so just don't be surprised if your team was playing great all year and they just get kicked out first game and or they even get blown out. It happens. It happens. These long seasons takes a beating and a toll on teams, and it's already hard enough to play really really. It's already hard enough to win a single game in the NFL. That's why games are so meaningful. That's why the NFL is so competitive because how hard it is to win. And that's why the NFL is the best sports league in the world because no other sports in the world are as competitive as the NFL. No other leagues are, and that's just the way it is. And because how hard it is to win, I mean, you got to be so freaking detailed, almost nearly perfect. You got to like strive for the perfection. In the NFL is the most detailed business in the entire world, and so much goes into just a game. Why? Because they want to win, just for a win. And imagine that every single day, the amount of stress and focus and concentration and intensity that all these teams and the players, the coaches put in to win a game for 18 weeks. 18 weeks. Could you imagine? And that's just 18 weeks. We're not even talking about preseason. You see what I'm saying? And they were not even talking about the training camp, off-season workouts. It's year long. Football is year long. When you're a player, it's year long. So, but now we're talking about the playoffs. It's all that 10 times that. Jim Harbaugh said himself that sometimes he even wished, sometimes here and there, he wished when he's preparing for a game every single week, he wished it could be a little easier. That's Jim Harbaugh saying that. He wished that it can be just a little bit easier for the preparation to win it, just to win a game. Every single week, you're going into war. So when you get into the playoffs, some of these teams are just so beat up and so tired and so done with it. They just don't have it anymore. And they get smacked. The playoffs, it's more, I mean, football is a game of psychology anyways. It's all mental, especially when you get to NFL, but it's even more. It's like, it's beyond just, it's beyond like just a chess match, And so you'll see when the playoffs happen, you'll see. So I'm really, and it's going to be very, very interesting this year because you got a lot of inexperienced players playing. You got a lot of inexperienced teams, a lot of inexperienced quarterbacks. I think this year, this is the most, this is a record for the most, I think for the most youngest or inexperienced quarterbacks in the NFL going to the playoffs or something like that. There's never been a season in NFL history where there has been as many inexperienced quarterbacks playing in the playoffs. That's going to be very interesting. So you really have to ask yourself, one of these young quarterbacks is going to get a Lombardi. One of them may. That's why they say this is the year for Josh Allen to take it all. I don't see the Bills doing that at all. I don't see that happening. And I'm not going to give Josh Allen a pass if it doesn't. I know a lot of people are, but I'm not. I don't want to hear he doesn't have help. I mean, he's the most experienced quarterback outside of Matthew Stafford going into the playoffs this year. There's no excuse. There's no excuse at all. So, I mean, in the defenses that he's going to be facing in AFC, all the tough, physical, brutal defenses are in the NFC. Now you do got the Texans and you do got the Chargers. The Chargers defense is inconsistent sometimes. I've been saying that all year. Texans, now that's a different beast. Texans, that's a brutal defense. Now, Broncos, they got a pretty solid defense, but the Broncos defense, like the Chargers, they got some vulnerability in there. You strategize a little bit, you can out finesse the Broncos. They're not as scary as most people think they are. I think the Broncos are another one and done team in the AFC. I really do. I'm honestly thinking that the Chargers don't keep Justin Herbert upright. If they don't, their defense don't come out there and play consistent, they're going to be a one and done team. They can be a one and done team. You know, I said my Super Bowl pick was going to be the Patriots in the big Bears. Now, Patriots and the Bears. If the Chargers keep Justin Herbert upright, that defense plays lights out, plays really great, like they do sometimes throughout the season. I got the Chargers going, but I don't know. I don't know what to expect from that offensive line. I really don't. So that's that. And we're going to see how it plays out against the Broncos tomorrow. You know, Justin Herbert's not playing. They're John Jim Harbaugh is sitting out a lot of starters. So we'll see how that offensive line holds up against Denver. But speaking of tomorrow, you know, I'm done talking about Saturday's games. They were solid. They were pretty good. But tomorrow, you know, I'm going to give you all my predictions real quick. And let me see. Hold on. Let me put up my notes. All right. So Saints, Falcons. This is going to be a big game because, again, like we talked about, I can't remember, but I think it's Saints win, Bucks are in. Saints get a tie or win, Bucks are in. Falcons win, Panthers are in. I think that's how it is. But regardless, this is going to be a really great game. So it's going to be a very competitive game. NFC South division those games are always exciting to watch. Because those teams just beat up on each other. They're really good. All those teams, they have a lot of potential. They got a lot of talent, and they show up for nothing. That's what the NFC South is really known for, I guess you could say in my book, is that talented teams, a lot of potential outside the Saints, a lot of potential, and they show up for nothing. You know, Panthers, Bucks, Falcons, especially the Falcons, man. Especially the Falcons. The Falcons probably has the best talent out of all of them, and they got booted off the playoffs, eliminated from the playoffs in week 14. But anyway, I'm going to give this game to the Falcons. I think the Falcons can beat the Saints. I'm going to say that the Falcons beat the Saints 20-12. And y'all see how the Falcons played the last game. I forgot who they steamrolled, but they played really, really good last game. So, yeah. Now we got the Browns and the Bengals. So, again, another great game. Another really great game. The Bengals always have problems with the Browns. Myles Garrett more than likely is going to get his sack record on Joe Burrow. And I'm going to give this game to the Browns. I think the Browns can beat the Bengals. I'm really loving what I'm seeing out of Shedeur Sanders. I think, you know, Shedeur Sanders is only going to get better from here. And he's looking really good. He really is. I mean, he's had a couple of bad games here and there, but he's a rookie. You know, he's going to be a great quarterback in time. Get him a really great number one. He's going to do some damage. So I got the Browns. I think that game is too high scoring. I put 27-25, but I honestly don't think that the Browns is going to put up that many points. But I'm going to say 23, 22. I'm going to have the Browns beating the Bengals by 1 point, 23-22. So Colts, Texans. I would say another great game, but the Colts don't have a quarterback. I think Phillip Rivers retired. He retired before he even finished the season. I guess he's like, you know, they lost the play. They're out of the playoffs. So what the hell? What's the point? I get it. So, oh yeah, I read a report that Phillip Rivers even did say that he's rooting for the Chargers all the way too. So shout out to Phillip Rivers for that. But the Colts Texans, I got the Texans winning this game. I don't see the Colts beating this game, beating them. Now, it could happen, but I highly doubt it. You know, maybe Shane Steichen schemes up some stuff and beats the Texans. I highly doubt that happens, but if that does happen and the Chargers somehow beats the Broncos, the Chargers, I believe, will win the AFC West. So, yeah, they will. They'll be on top. That'll be crazy for the Charger fans out there if somehow Indy beats Houston and Chargers beats Denver. I don't really know. I don't really think that's going to happen. But this is any given Sunday. This is the NFL. Anything can happen. So I haven't really gave my bold predictions. So should I give my bold prediction on Indy beating Houston and the Chargers beating Denver? Just to see if it will happen. Okay. I mean, what I gotta lose? So even though I don't think this will happen, because I just don't think there is any way in blue hell that the Colts beat the Texans, I'm just gonna make fun out of this, and I'm gonna say that the Colts is gonna beat the Texans 17-15. I'm gonna say Colts 17, Texans 15. Who knows? Maybe the Colts, their defense just really shut down CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud isn't really that scary of a quarterback. And perhaps Jonathan Taylor goes off. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see. So we got Tennessee, Jacksonville, and Titans definitely aren't beating Jacksonville. I think the Titans are going to lose to the Jaguars 30-13. Green Bay, Minnesota. That's going to be a pretty good game. I think. Oh, and Trayvon Diggs. You guys already know that the Cowboys released Trayvon Diggs and the Packers. They picked him up. I'm not sure if he's playing this game. It would be interesting if he is. Obviously, he will be playing. So I think I want to go. I'm going to say that the Packers are going to beat. No, I'm actually going to go with Minnesota. I think Minnesota can beat the Packers. I'm going to say Minnesota is going to beat the Packers 25-10. That's what I'm going to say. Cowboys, Giants. This is a game nobody absolutely cares about. It's going to be a boring game. But I'm going to go with the. It's always interesting when the Cowboys and the Giants play against each other. This game can go either way. I'm going to go with the Cowboys, though. I'm going to say the Cowboys are going to beat the Giants 26 to 10. I'm going to say Cowboys beat Giants 26 to 10. All right, so then we got oh, hold on. I should be screen sharing this so y'all can see this. Then we got the Jets. We got the Jets at Buffalo. So Bills is going to beat the Jets 24-0. 24-0. Then we got the Lions, Bears. I got this game. I got the Bears beating the Lions. Yeah, I got the Bears beating the Lions. See, 30-3. I'm gonna say Bears gonna blow out the Lions 30-3. And then we got the Chargers. All right, this is gonna be one of my bold predictions because I honestly don't think the Chargers are gonna beat the Broncos. So anytime when I don't think that's gonna actually happen, I predict against that. It's a bold prediction. So I got Denver, unless I really state a case, because sometimes I will state a case like I really think this is going to happen. But we got, I'm going to say the Chargers are going to beat the Broncos 19-17. I'm going to say 19-17. Okay, and then we got Cardinals. I really wish Jimmy Harbaugh was playing Justin Herbert that game, just for at least phase or a quarter or something. I don't know. I really would have liked him to keep going with that, winning that record, breaking that record, that Peyton Manning record, but whatever. Cardinals, Rams. So I got the Rams. I'm gonna say the Rams are gonna beat the Cardinals 34-18. I'm gonna say the Rams are gonna beat the Cardinals. We're gonna blow out the Cardinals 34-18. We got the Chiefs, Raiders. So the Raiders, this is a divisional game. And I think the last time the Raiders played against the Chiefs, did the Chiefs blow them out? I think the Chiefs blew them out the last time they played, I think. I'm going to say the Raiders are going to beat the Chiefs this game. I'm going to say the Raiders are going to beat the Chiefs 15-12. I'm going to say Raiders 15, Chiefs 12. All right, and then so we got the Dolphins and the Patriots. Do not be surprised if the Dolphins beats the Patriots. I'm just letting y'all know that right now. Don't be surprised if it happens. The Dolphins always plays well against New England, and but Miami is playing at New England. But I'm going to go ahead and give this a bold prediction, make things interesting. So I got 3 bold predictions. I'm going to make things a little interesting. I'm going to say the Dolphins are going to beat New England 20-18. So y'all heard it from me first. Dolphins are going to beat New England 20-18. Yeah. And that's why I'm giving New England a wake-up call, and then they'll make a run, a deep run, at least to the AFC Championship. Maybe they can meet the Chargers in the AFC Championship. I don't know, because I think some stuff may happen for the Chargers to go to New England. So that may not happen, but who knows? But anyway, that's another bold prediction. I got 3 bold predictions. I got the Chargers beating the Broncos. I got the Colts beating the Texans, and I got Dolphins beating the Patriots. All right, so and now we got the Commanders. That's gonna make some interesting. Eagles. So I got the Eagles beating the Commanders 27-6. All right. Eagles 27, Commanders 6. And then Sunday Night Football. It's going to be a really, really great game. Really, really great game. We got Baltimore Ravens at Pittsburgh Steelers. That's going to be a very exciting game. I think Lamar Jackson is playing this game. This game can go either way. We're closing out Week 18 with a great rivalry. 8-8 Baltimore Ravens and the 97 Pittsburgh Steelers. I honestly don't know who's going to win this game. Let me look at the previews of it, because I honestly don't know. My heart says the Ravens, but I'm just thinking Aaron Rodgers can go out there very well. Let's see. I want to see what. I don't know. You know what? Oh yeah, I forgot about Derrick Henry. I'm gonna go with the Ravens. Yeah, I think the Ravens is gonna beat the Broncos. I'm gonna go with the Ravens beating the Steelers. Yeah, because of Derrick Henry. And I don't think the Steelers is going to be able to stop Derrick Henry. Now the Ravens are being smart. They're using their weapon, their biggest weapon, biggest threat, Derrick Henry. Like I said before, you run to win games. You don't need to always put the game in your quarterback's hand. I don't care if he's a Hall of Famer or not. The best strategy is to beat the hell out of the defense by running the game, by running the ball. That exhausts a defense. That's why great running game, great defense goes deep into the playoffs. It can even possibly win a championship. The past few championships, that's what happened with the Chiefs winning. The past few Super Bowls that Patrick Mahomes has won, they had a pretty good running game, really great defense. Same for Eagles. Great defense. We already know what Saquon Barkley did. That's what wins you games, man. It really does. Not saying that the quarterback, Hall of Fame quarterback that you got, he's not capable of going out there winning the game, but you put yourself in a bit of a disfavor when you're out there trying to win the game in the hands of your quarterback. And it's just not a strategy to win. The time of possession sometimes it won't be in your favor, but it'd be more in your favor when you're running the golf ball and you're playing really great defense. It's a really great strategy of going deep and winning games. And so if the Ravens can do that, who knows what they can do in the playoffs? Now the Ravens have never shown. That's if they go to the playoffs. I don't think the Ravens are going to go. But anyway, I think that I'm gonna go with the Ravens beating the Steelers. I'm gonna say that the Ravens can possibly beat the Steelers. I think maybe I don't think it's gonna be a blowout or anything, but I will say maybe 20-28 28-25. I'm gonna say Ravens 28, Steelers 25. I think I'll say Aaron Rodgers gonna have a pretty good game. You know, but the differential maker is that the Steelers doesn't really have a reliable running game, and the Ravens do. So that's going to be the difference maker. And Derrick Henry's going to run all over that Pittsburgh Steelers defense. I see it now. I see it. I can't really even think of anybody on the Steelers defense that's going to really go head to head with Derrick Henry and stop him. I don't see it happening. So with that being said, I got 28-25, Ravens 28, Steelers 25. Let me mark that down. So let's see. Yep. And that's it. That's week 18. That's 18 weeks. This season went by really fast, very, very fast. And yeah, I hope you all had a really great New Year, Christmas, everything. These years always go by so fast, man. And the 2026 season is going to be here before we know it. The draft, pro day, that stuff is going to come and go. And this is probably one of the most unique playoffs that I have seen in a very, very long time because of the inexperience in the playoffs and how so many of these quarterbacks have just grown up so fast and playing at a high level, at a high elite level, because really they have no other choice, because the NFL has always been unforgiving, but it's even more unforgiving now. It's like these quarterbacks has to get it now. And it makes it tough on them, but that's what makes it more exciting and more competitive. You're talking about Bo Nix, Caleb Williams, Drake May, like those guys are young and they're in the playoffs fighting, and it's very highly likely that any of those guys can go to the Super Bowl in their second year. How wonderful is that? Now I don't want that to be the case. I want it to be Justin Herbert, but hey, who knows? It could be Justin Herbert and Josh Allen walk all of them out and meet, and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert meets in the AFC Championship. Won't that be something exciting? Two quarterbacks that has been known that they can't get past the AFC Championship. Well, Justin Herbert hasn't even won a playoff game, but that will be really exciting. Josh Allen versus Justin Herbert in the AFC Championship. That'll be pretty cool. Caleb Williams versus Sam Darnold in the NFC Championship. That would be exciting. You got two kind of vets, AFC. Then you got, Sam Darnold's pretty big vet too, but then you got two USC quarterbacks facing each other in NFC. Great storylines. It's great storylines all across the league right now, man. That's what makes football so fun. It's the storylines. Stories. So, and that's something I should focus more on too, is the storylines of like the situations of what's going on in the league. That's something I want to look more into also. Give you guys stories about the league, and scenarios and what ifs. I'll make that part of the content here on part of this channel platform, additional to my predictions as well. I know there's not every platform does predictions, but I think predictions is kind of a way to really stress test myself and to really force myself to really think heavily, intensely about these games before and after, and to review. Even though I haven't been watching the games as often as I want to and as much as I used to, but I pay attention and I'm still thinking heavily about them, and I still do my homework, and I still watch tape, just not watching them live as much as I want to. But that's all I have right now. And I'll be back tomorrow night for prime time, Sunday Night Football, after Sunday Night Football. And yeah, go over like we always do. Go over my predictions. go over the story, like certain storylines around the league. I'll start doing that. Certain storylines around the league. Talk about it. Talk to y'all about it. Y'all please chime in. You know, come in the live chat. I'll interact with you. I'll talk to you back and forth. I certainly will. I just won't ignore you. You know, I will only ignore you if you're completely disrespectful. I just won't even get into it with you. I don't care. But I'm not going to entertain it. But yeah, that is something I'm going to look more into. Is want to start integrating more is storylines on about the league and scenarios and what if situations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, you all, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and tune in tomorrow night for an all day prime time at the end of prime time Sunday night football. At the end of Sunday night football, we'll talk. That's when I'll be back. All right. So yeah. All right. Real quick, I guess real quick before I close, I will give you a review of my predictions real quick. I said the Saints is going to beat the Falcons. No, Falcons going to beat the Saints 20-12. Browns going to beat the Bengals 23-22. Texans going to beat the Colts 15-17. Jaguars going to beat the Titans 30-13. Vikings going to beat the Packers 25-10. Cowboys going to beat the Giants 26-10. Bills going to blow out the Jets 24-0. Bears going to blow out the Lions 30-3. Chargers going to beat, that's about prediction. Chargers going to beat the Broncos 19-17. Rams going to blow out the Cardinals 34-18. Raiders going to beat the Chiefs 15-12. This is about prediction. Dolphins going to beat the Patriots 20-18. Eagles going to beat the Commanders 27-6, and the Ravens going to beat the Steelers 28-5. Oh yeah, another bold prediction was the third one was the Colts beating the Texans. That's a bold prediction as well. So the three bold predictions is the Colts beating the Texans 17-15, and Chargers beating the Broncos 19-17, and the Dolphins beating the Patriots 20-18. So here we go. Those are my predictions, and we're gonna see. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll be back very soon. I'll be back tomorrow night after the prime time Sunday night football game, and deuces.